Morning, all. All right, so in our continuing look at the NHL's history, we're up to the 2008-2009 season. And as you can see, Pittsburgh had a good year. But Boston won the East. Of course, finishing first is very often an issue for Boston in the playoffs because they don't usually win when they are first in the conference. 53-19-10 record for Boston. 116 points, 274 goals scored, 196 goals against. Their power play was very effective that year, 23.64%, as was their penalty kill, 82.35%. The Washington Capitals finish next, 50-24-8 record, 108 points, 272 goals scored, 245 goals against. Special teams, very good for them as well. 25.22% on the power play, 80.62% on the penalty kill. The New Jersey Devils, 51-27-4 record, 106 points, 244 goals scored, 209 goals against. Their special teams a little shakier, 18.89% on the power play, 79.94% on the penalty kill. Pittsburgh, 45-28-9 record, so 99 points, 264 goals scored, 239 goals against. Their power play, not fantastic, 17.22%. Their penalty kill, better, 82.71%. The Philadelphia Flyers finished 44-27-11, so they also have 99 points. 264 goals scored, 238 goals against. Their power play, a 22.47% power play. Penalty kill, 82.95%. So special teams better for Philly than for Pittsburgh. Teams finished with the same amount of points. Pittsburgh gets the tiebreaker. Carolina, 45-30-7 record, 97 points. 239 goals scored, 226 goals against. The power play, 18.72%. Penalty kill, 80.4%. The New York Rangers, 43-30-9 record, 95 points, 210 goals scored, 218 goals against. Power play, an issue for the Rangers that year, 13.87%. Their penalty kill was excellent, 87.84%. Montreal finishes just above the playoff line, winning a tiebreaker with Florida to get in. 41-30-11 record for Montreal, 93 points, 249 goals scored, 247 goals against. 19.25% on the power play, 82.43% on the penalty kill. The Florida Panthers, 41-30-11, so the same record as the Montreal Canadiens, 93 points. 234 goals scored, 231 goals against. Their power play a little more anemic than Montreal's at 16.56%. Their penalty kill slightly better than Montreal's, 82.64%. But again, they lose the tiebreaker to Montreal. Buffalo, 41-32-9 record, 91 points, 250 goals scored, 234 goals against. Special teams good for Buffalo, 20.95% on the power play, 81.85% on the penalty kill. Ottawa finishes 36-35-11, so 83 points for them, 217 goals scored, 237 goals against. 19.47% on the power play, 81.5% on the penalty kill. The Toronto Maple Leafs finished 34-35-13, 81 points, 250 goals scored, 293 goals against. 18.79% on the power play, 74.68% on the penalty kill. The Atlanta Thrashers, 35-41-6 record, 76 points, 257 goals scored, 280 goals against. Their special teams 19.33% on the power play, 75.96% on the penalty kill. So rough penalty killing numbers there for Atlanta. Tampa Bay, 24-40-18, 66 points for them. 210 goals scored, 279 goals against. Their power play, 17.78%. Their penalty kill, 78.02%. So special teams definitely an issue for the teams at the bottom of the league. The New York Islanders, no exception to this, 26-47-9 record, 61 points, 201 goals scored, 279 goals against. 16.88% on the power play, 79.78% on the penalty kill. Out west, San Jose, the top team, and they actually won the President's Trophy that year, record of 53-18-11, 117 points. They beat Boston by 1 point. 257 goals scored, 204 goals against. Their power play, 24.17%. Their penalty kill, 83.22%. And San Jose's penalty kill is almost always excellent. Detroit, even in recent seasons, Detroit 51-21-10 record, 112 points, 295 goals scored, 244 goals against. Their power play 25.5%, penalty kill 78.29%. Vancouver finishes 45-27-10, so 100 points for them. 246 goals scored, 220 goals against. Their power play 18.77%, penalty kill 81.4%. Chicago 46-24-12 record, 104 points, 264 goals scored, 216 goals against, 19.28% on the power play, 80.61% on the penalty kill. In Chicago, clearly going to be a power in the NHL. You could tell in the 08-09 season that they were the next ones up. Calgary 46-30-6 record, 98 points, 254 goals scored, 248 goals against. Power play 17.04%, so not great, but the penalty kill excellent, 83.38%. St. Louis 41-31-10 record, 92 points, 233 goals scored, and 233 goals against. 20.51% on the power play, 83.75% on the penalty kill. So solid penalty killing from the Blues that season. Columbus finishes in the playoffs for the first time. 41-31-10 record for them as well, so also 92 points, 226 goals scored, 230 goals against. They don't have a power play, 12.73% on the power play. Their penalty kill is good, 82.08%, but it really is the Steve Mason show that year in Columbus. Anaheim 42-33-7. There we go. Record 91 points, 245 goals scored, 238 goals against. Good power play for the Ducks, 23.62%. Their penalty kill, 79.74%. And then just below the playoff line with 89 points, Minnesota, 40-33-9 record, 219 goals scored, 200 goals against. Power play, 20.12%. Penalty kill, 87.63%. So excellent penalty killing for Minnesota, who barely missed the playoffs. Nashville finishes 40-34-8, 88 points, 213 goals scored, 233 goals against, 15.72% on the power play, so that's lacking. Their penalty kill, very good, 82.54%. The Edmonton Oilers, 38-35-9 record, 85 points, 234 goals scored, 248 goals against. On the power play, 16.95%, penalty kill, 77.51%. The Dallas Stars, 36-35-11 record, so 83 points for Dallas. 230 goals scored, 257 goals against. Power play, anemic, 15.38%. Penalty kill, not fantastic either at 78.59%. The Phoenix Coyotes, 36-39-7 record, 79 points, 208 goals scored, 252 goals against. Power play struggles at 14.66%. Penalty kill struggles as well at 76.79%. The LA Kings, 34-37-11 record, also 79 points, 207 goals scored, 234 goals against, 19.17% on the power play, 82.83% on the penalty kill. Colorado bringing up the rear in the West, 32-45-5 record, 69 points, 199 goals scored, 257 goals against. Power play 15.72%, penalty kill 79.87%. So all those numbers aside and everything, Boston and San Jose, tops in their conferences. Neither of them make it very far in the playoffs. So the salary cap rises again. And so for fans that weren't happy about the 04-05 lockout, the fact that the cap just is flying doesn't look great. The salary cap rises $6.4 million per team to 56.7% or 56.7 million. So all those percentages stuck in my head now. But the floor is $40.7 million, which is higher than the cap ceiling was just a few years prior. So the salary cap going up a lot and very, very quickly and making people wonder, why did we lose a season again? The Senators, the Penguins, the Rangers, and the Tampa Bay Lightning all start the season overseas in Europe. All four of those coaches would be fired by February 23rd of 2009. So going overseas was bad luck that year. July the 1st of 2008, Columbus trades Gilbert Brulé to the Oilers for Rafi Torres. Gilbert Brulé was seen as a potential franchise player at the time that he was drafted, and it just didn't work out, so he ends up going to Edmonton. He had a couple of decent runs at the NHL level. It just never quite clicked there. November 24th of 2008, the Blues trade Lee Stempniak to the Leafs in exchange for Carlo Koliakovo and Alex Steen. This is a trade that the Leafs probably wish that they hadn't made. March 4th of 2009, the Senators trade Antoine Vermette to Columbus for Pascal Leclerc and a 2009 second, which they used to draft Robin Lehner. So not bad there for Ottawa, and for Columbus, Vermette, useful pickup. March 4th, 2009 as well, so on trade deadline day, the Coyotes trade Olle Jokinen and a 2009 second-round pick to the Flames for Matthew Lombardi, Brandon Prust, and a 2010 first-round draft pick. So for Olle Jokinen, it's the first of, I think he was in Calgary twice, right? So at any rate, he gets traded there by the Coyotes. And the schedule gets balanced, so they had made it so that you didn't necessarily play every team twice. That gets put back into place for the 08-09 season. Owners didn't like not having every team come into their barn, and so the NHL fixes it. And this is again why, should the NHL keep expanding past 32 teams, and that seems to be the plan, I don't know how you can still have every team play each other twice, maintain divisions, and have any sort of rivalries, because it's a lot. It's a lot. All right. The Art Ross Trophy that year goes to Evgeny Malkin of the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Masterton goes to Steve Sullivan of the Nashville Predators. The Calder goes to Steve Mason of Columbus. Again, it was the Steve Mason show in Columbus. He was really, I mean, flash in the pan's a term that gets thrown around a lot, but Steve Mason might be right up there with Jim Carey, Blaine Locker as goaltenders that just kind of came out of nowhere. Mason did have a decent career, but again, nothing like that rookie season. That rookie season really raised the bar. The Conn Smythe goes to Evgeny Malkin of the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Selke goes to Pavel Datsyuk of the Detroit Red Wings. The Hart Trophy goes to Alex Ovechkin of the Washington Capitals. The Jack Adams goes to Claude Julien of the Boston Bruins. The Norris Trophy goes to Zdeno Chara, also of the Boston Bruins, of course. The King Clancy goes to Ethan Morrow of the Edmonton Oilers. The Lady Byng goes to Pavel Datsyuk of the Detroit Red Wings. The Lester Pearson goes to Alex Ovechkin of the Capitals. And Alex Ovechkin also wins the Rocket Richard. So a lot of hardware for Ovechkin over the last couple of seasons in the NHL, but no Stanley Cup to speak of as of yet. The Vezina Trophy goes to Tim Thomas of the Boston Bruins, and Thomas splits the Jennings with Manny Fernandez, of course, also of the Boston Bruins. This was the season where Boston finally kind of had to agree to give Tim Thomas the reins in the net, but they really fought it for a while. So your leading scorers of Evgeny Malkin of Pittsburgh, 82 games, 35 goals, 78 assists, 113 points. Alex Ovechkin second, 79 games, 56 goals, 54 assists, 110 points. Sidney Crosby of Pittsburgh, 77 games, 33 goals, 70 assists, 103 points. Pavel Datsyuk in Detroit, 81 games, 32 goals, 65 assists, 97 points. Zach Parise in New Jersey, 82 games, 45 goals, 49 assists, 94 points. Ryan Getzlaf in Anaheim, 81 games, 25 goals, 66 assists, 91 points. Ilya Kovalchuk in Atlanta, 79 games, 43 goals, 48 assists, also 91 points for him. Jerome McGinley in Calgary, 82 games, 35 goals, 54 assists, 89 points. Mark Savard in Boston, 82 games, 25 goals, 63 assists, 88 points. Nicholas Backstrom in Washington, 82 games, 22 goals, 66 assists, 88 points for the Caps. Sorry, dealing with allergies this morning. All right, coming back over to the All-Stars too. So before I get into the goaltending stats, down the middle, your All-Stars. Evgeny Malkin of Pittsburgh is the first-team All-Star at center, and Pavel Datsyuk of Detroit, second team. On the left side, Alex Ovechkin of the Capitals, first team. Zach Parise of New Jersey, second team. On the right side, Jerome McGinley of Calgary is first team, and Marian Hossa of Detroit is second team. On the blue line, Zdeno Chara of Boston and Mike Green of Washington are your first-team All-Stars. Dan Boyle in San Jose and Nicholas Lidstrom in Detroit are your second-team All-Stars. And in net, Tim Thomas of Boston, first-team All-Star, and Steve Mason in Columbus, second-team All-Star. So, Mika Kiprasov leads the league in wins that year, record of 45, 24, and 5, 903 save percentage, 4 shutouts. Evgeny Nabokov in San Jose, 41, 12, and 8 record, 910 save percentage, 7 shutouts. Cam Ward in Carolina, 39, 23, and 5 record, 916 save percentage, 6 shutouts. Henrik Lundqvist with the Rangers, 38, 25, and 7 record, 916 save percentage as well, 3 shutouts. Nicholas Backstrom in Minnesota. So this is that odd era where you have a Nicholas Backstrom in Minnesota, and Nicholas Backstrom in Washington. And so it's two guys with the same name. But Nicholas Backstrom in Minnesota, the goaltender, 37, 24, and 8 record, 923 save percentage, 8 shutouts. Tim Thomas in Boston, 36, 11, and 7 record, 933 save percentage, 5 shutouts. So we get to the playoffs. Yes, we're at the playoffs. Conference quarterfinals, so your first round, Chicago beats Calgary in 6. Vancouver sweeps the St. Louis Blues in 4. Detroit sweeps Columbus in 4. So Columbus finally makes the playoffs, and Detroit gets rid of them quickly. Anaheim defeats San Jose in 6. So that's an upset right there. Then on the other side, Pittsburgh beats Philadelphia 4-2. Carolina beats New Jersey in a hard-fought 7-game series. Washington beats the Rangers, also a hard-fought 7-game series. Boston sweeps Montreal. One of the few times where Montreal was not a threat to Boston at all. It was one of the most fun series I ever watched as a Bruins fan because it was done pretty early. And it was obvious after like game 2 that that series was done. Conference semifinals, Chicago beats Vancouver 4-2. So that was less fun for me as a hockey fan. Detroit beats Anaheim, another 7-game series there. Pittsburgh beats Washington in 7 because it's a bad matchup for the Caps. Carolina beats Boston 4-3, so 7-game series there. And Carolina at times is giving Boston a hard time too. In the conference finals, Detroit and Chicago. Detroit wins both games at home by scores of 5-2 and then a 3-2 overtime win. Chicago goes home. They win 4-3 in overtime. Detroit then wins 6-1 to go up 3-1. And then Detroit wins at home 2-1 in overtime to win the series in 5. So 3 of the games go to overtime, and you can tell Chicago is going to be back. Carolina and Pittsburgh, this is not close. Pittsburgh wins 3-2 and 7-4. Then they go to Carolina. They win 6-2 and 4-1. They sweep the series. So this is where getting swept in the conference final starts for Carolina. In the Stanley Cup final, it is Pittsburgh. It is Detroit for a second year in a row. Detroit wins both games at home, both of them by scores of 3-1. So it looks like Detroit's going to win back-to-back. But Pittsburgh wins at home, games 3 and 4, both games by a score of 4-2. Detroit then wins at home 5-0. Pittsburgh wins at home 2-1. So the home team wins every single game until Game 7. Pittsburgh wins in Detroit 2-1. They win the series in 7 games. In that Stanley Cup final, Henrik Zetterberg, 2 goals, 4 assists for Detroit. Johan Franzen, 2 goals, 2 assists for Detroit as well. Nick Lidstrom had 3 assists in that final. Chris Osgood, a .930 save percentage in the final. Is he in the Hall of Fame? No. Did he have 2 shutout? He had a shutout in that final, and then had 2 games where he allowed 1 goal. I don't know. I think he belongs there. On the Pittsburgh side of Genny Malkin, 2 goals, 6 assists, 8 points. Maxime Talbot, 4 goals, 2 assists, as he had quite the run there. And Sidney Crosby, just a goal and 2 assists, but he gets his first ever Stanley Cup ring. And Marc-Andre Fleury, a .913 save percentage in the victory for Pittsburgh. So there you go. You guys are all caught up in the 08-09 season. We get into the 2010 starting tomorrow, so kind of exciting. So let me know your thoughts in the comments section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe in the event you haven't done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.